Excelente. Chegamos à etapa final. Passo 5. Inserção das chamadas para a ação. CTAs. Neste último passo, inseri as duas chamadas para a ação, CTAs, no roteiro. Uma para inscrição, logo após o parágrafo de abertura, e outra para engajamento nos comentários, ao final do vídeo. A missão foi concluída. Aqui está a versão final e completa do seu roteiro, pronta para ser usada. Roteiro finalizado. For many of us, especially as we move past the age of 60, our wardrobe is more than just a collection of fabrics. It's a reflection of our life's journey. But what if certain clothes, even the ones we love, are subtly draining our energy and good fortune? This isn't about fashion trends or looking younger. It's about something much deeper, the silent conversation between what we wear and who we are. In Buddhism, every aspect of daily life is a form of practice. The way we eat, walk, speak, and yes, even the way we dress is a spiritual discipline. The simple act of choosing an outfit in the morning is a reflection of our mindset, a practice of the heart. This perspective was masterfully articulated by Kūkai, a seminal figure in Japanese Buddhism from the 9th century. In his writings, he often emphasized that cultivating the body and cultivating the mind are two sides of the same coin. Kūkai wrote, "A garment does not merely cover the body, it is a reflection of the mind. In other words, our clothing is a mirror, revealing our inner state to the world. It's not just about how society sees us, but about how we see and treat ourselves." This ties into a fundamental Buddhist teaching called innen engi, or dependent origination, which suggests that all our actions, no matter how small, are causes that create effects. The way we choose and wear our clothes is one such cause. If you don't mind a few wrinkles or a missing button, that state of neglect can slowly translate into a disorganized mind. On the other hand, excessively chasing trends or flashy colors might indicate a different kind of imbalance, a state where we've lost touch with our core values. When we lose sight of what's truly important and are swayed by the opinions of others, that inner turmoil often shows up in our wardrobe. According to Kūkai's philosophy, whether one is a monk or a layperson, the path to enlightenment is found in everyday conduct. Our attire is a part of this conduct. The simple act of keeping our clothes clean and appropriate for the season and occasion is a gesture of respect for ourselves and by extension a way of walking the Buddhist path. In today's video, we will explore from the spiritual and internal perspective of Buddhism and the wisdom of Kūkai, 3 types of clothing that those of us over 60 might be better off avoiding. This isn't a judgment on style or age. Instead, consider this an invitation to look inward and ask, how am I treating myself right now? And who do I want to be moving forward? If this question resonates with you, consider subscribing for more timeless wisdom on living a mindful and intentional life. Now let's dive into our first point. First, the clothing worn solely for an audience. As we age, the why behind our clothing choices becomes far more significant than the what. Choosing clothes based on how others will perceive us might have been natural in our younger years. However, if we continue to cling to this external validation, we risk creating a distance from our true selves. For instance, the desire to look younger or avoid being seen as old might lead us to pick bright colors or trendy styles. These feelings are natural and shouldn't be dismissed, but if the underlying motive is to seek validation of our worth through the eyes of others, we may be dealing with what Buddhism calls gashu, or ego attachment, and mumyo, or ignorance. Gashu is the state of being trapped by our attachment to the idea of I, while mumyo is the state of having lost sight of the truth. Both are considered sources of suffering. Kūkai once said, "To deceive others is, in the end, to deceive oneself." This is more than a simple warning against lying. It's a profound caution that living to please others, to match their expectations, will eventually deafen us to our own inner voice. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to look presentable, but when our focus shifts entirely to how I want to be seen, we drift away from the more fundamental question of how I want to be. Buddhism teaches the concept of the middle way, or chudo. It's a path of balance, avoiding the extremes of pain and pleasure. In clothing, this means neither being excessively flamboyant nor completely indifferent. Both flashy attire and worn-out neglected clothes are expressions of an imbalanced state. This spirit of the middle way is also present in Kūkai's thought. He saw no separation between caring for one's appearance and cultivating one's mind. Our clothes are a mirror reflecting our inner state. Behind the act of dressing for an audience often lie vanity and pretense. This connects to another Buddhist concept of man, a defilement that arises from the desire to feel superior to others. When we consistently choose our clothes from this place of comparison, our minds become restless and unpeaceful. Furthermore, if we become accustomed to performing a version of ourselves through our wardrobe, we might start to believe that our true, unadorned self is without value. This can lead to self-rejection and a deep-seated lack of trust in who we are. This is where Kūkai's teaching of sokushin jōbutsu becomes incredibly powerful. It means attaining Buddhahood in this very body. It teaches that we don't need to become some idealized version of ourselves or the person others expect us to be. The starting point of the Buddhist path is to accept ourselves, right here, right now, just as we are. From this perspective, our clothing choices should be based not on how we appear to others, but on what brings us a sense of inner comfort and peace. This state of tranquility is described as jakujo, a mind that is calm and undisturbed. Our clothes can be a tool to support this inner stillness. Clothing is not just a tool to manage our appearance. It's a means to cultivate our mind. The choice to wear something that helps us treat ourselves with care, rather than to meet someone else's expectations, is a step towards what Buddhism calls shokin, or right view. Returning to Kūkai's idea of sokushin jōbutsu, the daily practice is not about outward performance but about cultivating inner silence and harmony. The clothes that reflect this are the ones that matter. So, what is the standard by which you choose your clothes? Is it for them, or is it for you? The daily ritual of selecting what to wear is an act that shapes our heart. Shifting from clothes worn for an audience to clothes that nurture the self is a profound change. It signifies a posture that values your relationship with yourself over your relationship with others. This is the very essence of the Buddhist journey, a quiet practice you can engage in every single day. Second, the clothing that binds you to the past. For those of us over 60, our closets can become archives of memories. The dress from a youthful adventure, the suit from a career-defining moment, the special outfit from a cherished occasion. Each piece represents a part of our life story, making it difficult to let go. We might think, I was so vibrant when I wore this. Or, this outfit represents the real me, the best me. Clothes are imbued with memory. Just touching a sleeve can transport us back to a specific time, flooding us with the emotions and scenes of that era. Therefore, the sentimental attachment we feel to these garments is completely understandable. Buddhism does not teach us to discard the past. It does, however, teach us not to be attached to it. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment or shuchaku is a primary cause of suffering. We create our own struggles by clinging to things, our body, our feelings, our memories. Clothes are no exception. When you find yourself thinking, I'll never wear this again, but I can't throw it away, or letting go of this feels like losing a part of myself, that garment has transformed from a mere object into a symbol of your mind.
While a uniform from long ago or a dress from a special day holds deep meaning, clinging to it can sometimes prevent you from moving forward in the present. This brings us to the concept of shogyo mujo, or the impermanence of all things. Everything is in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains the same. The clothes that suited you in the past may not suit the person you are today. The mindset and lifestyle you had when you wore them have likely changed as well.
Yet we hold on to these clothes trying to affirm a past version of ourselves. This is an attachment to yesterday, a state of being trapped in an illusion of time. Kūkai advised to renew your mind according to the times. This is a call to update our inner state as circumstances change. Our wardrobe, too, should be reviewed accordingly. As our age, body, lifestyle, and mental state evolve, our clothing should evolve with us, reflecting who we are now. Buddhism places immense importance on living in the here and now. It's a posture of living this very moment with intention, without being imprisoned by the past or fearful of the future. Clinging to old clothes weakens our connection to the present. It's not wrong to cherish the person you were, but if you're holding on to the past because you cannot accept the person you are today, your mind is in a state close to mumyo, or ignorance. Buddhism is a teaching of acceptance and change. A key part of its practice is to observe our inner world through our relationship with external objects, and in doing so, to release our attachments and fixations. Clothing can be a powerful object for this practice. Asking yourself what you are wearing, why you chose it, and what emotions are hidden within that choice can lead to profound self-awareness. Letting go of old clothes is not about erasing memories. The memories remain in your heart. You can honor your past without being shackled to it through physical objects. In fact, the impulse to preserve the past through things is often rooted in a fear of loss and insecurity. In light of Kūkai's words, what we need now is to renew our minds. The act of reevaluating our wardrobe is an act of realigning our heart's direction. After 60, the goal isn't to be the person you once were, but to be honest with the person you are now. Your clothes are an expression of how you are living in the present. Choosing something that feels comfortable, that fits your body and mind without pretense, is a practice of the middle way. It's about finding harmony with your current self, which in turn leads to daily peace of mind. Releasing the clothes of the past is an act of cherishing the self of the present. In a way, it is a form of Buddhist compassion, or jihi, directed inward. Unfettered by the past, untroubled by the future, simply choosing one garment that resonates with your heart today. That quiet act is a step that guides you on the path. Third, the clothing that weighs down your spirit. In the chapters of life after 60, especially after retirement, it's common to spend less time and energy on choosing daily attire. Reasons like, it's easy, no one sees me anyway, or it's just a habit, lead many of us to wear the same things for years. There's nothing inherently wrong with choosing comfortable clothes. However, there are times when clothes chosen out of indifference end up creating a stagnant emotional state. Buddhism teaches that the mind and body are one entity, a concept known as shinjin-ichi-nyo. The state of the body affects the mind, and the state of the mind affects the body. This means that wearing something that is worn out or stained, even if you don't consciously notice it, can have a negative impact on your psyche. The habit of thinking, "This will do for today," as you slip on an old garment, can become a subconscious message, "I am not important." In Buddhism, such unaware habits are seen as a cause of mental turbidity. The term for mental defilements, bono, also implies ingrained patterns of thought that we continue unconsciously. Apathy towards one's clothing can become one such defilement. It is said that KuKai took great care in maintaining his own robes each day. This wasn't merely for appearance's sake. It was a ritual to compose his mind for the day ahead, an act of respect for himself and for others. There's a saying in Buddhism, isoku bupo, which means that one's daily conduct and appearance are themselves the practice of the Dharma. Every small detail, down to how you arrange your clothes, can be a form of spiritual training. You don't need a special retreat. The teachings can be practiced right in the midst of your daily life. For example, the habit of unconsciously wearing a faded shirt communicates how you treat yourself. Over time, the feeling that this is good enough for me becomes normalized. This can lead to a sense of apathy, where you no longer care how others treat you. In Buddhism, this state is called hoitsu, or heedlessness, a failure to pay attention to one's own mind and actions. Conversely, even with simple clothing, the act of folding it neatly, keeping it clean, and maintaining it becomes an action to prevent the mind from falling into heedlessness. Kūkai's teachings emphasize a practical attitude of infusing every action, clothing, food, and shelter, with mindfulness. The true practice is not in doing extraordinary things, but in bringing awareness to ordinary life. Treating your clothes with care is synonymous with treating yourself with care, and a person who treats themselves with care is more capable of treating others with kindness. Conversely, when we become indifferent to our appearance and handle ourselves carelessly, we can become numb to the words and actions of others, which can lead to friction in relationships and a sense of isolation. This relates to the Buddhist concept of jitafuni, the inseparability of self and other. The teaching suggests that caring for oneself naturally extends into kindness for others. Clean, well-kept clothing sends a silent message that you value yourself. This not only builds self-confidence and a sense of security, but also positively influences your interactions with the world. The idea that, if you arrange your form, your mind will be arranged, is also central to Zen Buddhism. Monks begin their day by arranging their robes, cleaning their space, and organizing their tools. This is a daily practice to prevent mental clutter before it starts. Now more than ever, the focus should be on dressing not for others, but for yourself. This consciousness becomes the foundation for a quiet, deliberate life. This is not a call to wear expensive clothes. It is simply an invitation to choose clean attire that is appropriate for the person you are today. Even a well-worn piece of clothing, when carefully washed and mindfully put on, can serve as the signal for starting your day with intention. The teaching of Issai no Gyoi ga Butsudo ni Tsunagaru means that every single act can be a part of the Buddhist path. Arranging your clothes is part of that path. In fact, these small daily actions are the very heart of it. When you get dressed in the morning, if the piece you grab with an "oh, this'll do" thought makes your heart sink even a little, it's important to notice that sign. That awareness is the first step to stopping heedlessness and reclaiming your mindfulness. Buddhist practice is not confined to special places or difficult methods. The entrance to the path can be found in the simple, intimate act of treating yourself with care through your clothing. Try changing the habit of reaching for clothes that bring you down to choosing an attire that composes your day. This becomes an act of self-respect and a declaration of your resolve to live fully in the present. To summarize today's points, our choice of clothing, especially after 60, is a direct reflection of our inner posture. It's not just about appearance. The consciousness and motivation behind our choices manifest outwardly. As Kūkai stated, form is a vessel of the heart. Therefore, our attire is a part of our mental state. Even a casually chosen garment contains the story of how we are treating ourselves. The key is to shift the standard from what others think to what feels right and composed for you. This aligns with the Buddhist concept of shonen, or right mindfulness, which is about bringing awareness to the present moment. The act of choosing clothes, when done with mindfulness, becomes a practice. The teaching of impermanence also applies here. As our age and body change, our wardrobe should be updated to match. It is crucial to release attachment to clothes from the past and carefully select what suits the person you are now. Kūkai's teaching of sokushin jōbutsu tells us that we can walk the path of enlightenment just as we are. The starting point is not to put on a facade, but to cherish the self that exists in this moment. To arrange your clothes is to practice self-acceptance and self-compassion. It's a quiet affirmation that I am fine just as I am. Furthermore, a well-kept appearance is a form of respect for others, which in Buddhism is a rita practice, an act for the benefit of others. When our clothes are in order, our mind becomes orderly. When our mind is orderly, our words and actions follow. The small act of choosing clothes that align with your heart becomes the practice of the way. Try to quietly choose one garment that feels right for you today. That is an act of self-respect and a step towards composing your life. Now I have a question for you. Is there a piece of clothing in your closet that holds a powerful memory? What story does it tell? Please share your experience in the comments below. Your journey could be the insight someone else needs to see today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel